And welcome everyone to another Smart Money Circle episode. With me today is Sergei Melnik, who's the president and chairman at Nutriband. I'm very interested to hear, Sergey, everything, your story, I think is phenomenal, and everything you have going on at Nutriband. So welcome to the Smart Money Circle.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So Sergey, I always like to begin. Can you please tell us your story and how you got to where you are today?
The story starts Thanksgiving 2015 when I met my future business partner, Gareth Sheridan, who happens to be in Japan as of now. He was nominated for the Entrepreneur of the Year in Ireland and by Ernst & Young, and he was flown there the day before yesterday with the whole team of nominees. He also wrote a book, and I was in Dublin just last week where he promoted his book, and it's called From No to NASDAQ, and that's the whole journey that we had for the last 10 years almost. And so it started something like more or less of his college project, an idea of just making vitamin assimilation a little bit easier through patches. And that grew up into a major idea when we actually started working at a public company in the US. We went public by ourselves through a Form 10. We literally did everything ourselves, even legal work at the beginning, with very modest funds. And in 2018, we have acquired a company that had extremely something promising. I don't think we even understood at the time how promising it was going to be, but it also was an idea, not even a patent yet. It was a technology that could go on a pain-killing patch, and you'll make it almost impossible for abuse or misuse. That idea was something that our investors and the bankers got attached to, and since then we have been patented in 45 countries. And we partnered with Kindeva, former 3M company. And for the last 4 years since the IPO in 2021, we have been working on actually getting the product to successfully place our technology on the fentanyl patch. So when you're going to see the next milestone, that pretty much is going to be when we completed the feasibility and we'll have the product and we're ready to file the FDA submission. So that's in a nutshell the story. Meantime, we actually have a production company in North Carolina. So we do manufacture. We actually revenue generating company, unlike other biotechs in our space. We manufacture for such companies as Reebok, as KT Tape, and we have our own product too. It's called AI Active Intelligence Tape that we sell. Our mosquito patches were just approved to be sold in Costa Rica. Me and my friends were the guinea pigs about a month ago in Costa Rica. We climbed the two mountains, the tallest mountains, Sierra Chiripo and Sierra Uran, and we used the tapes on us, and we did not have one mosquito bite in 4 days that we're in the jungle. Wow. So we are very confident that that's going to be actually a good seller and revenue generating, patch for the company. So that's in a nutshell about the company. We're extremely excited that for the next 12 months it's coming up full of milestones. Those 12 months have to be also the ones we're going to have not just the IND meeting, but we should have the completion of the hull study and FDA submission. So we and our investors should be very, very happy.
I love that. So just to summarize for the audience, what NutriBrand does is that you make skin patches, almost like a nicotine patch, but you do it for other applications, like the anti-repelling the mosquitoes or enter any other type of issue there could be. Is that more or less what you do, like the transdermal work where it's on top of the skin?
Correct. Transdermal work is that's our main products. And from sports tapes, we have over-the-counter products, and of course we have something that has to go through the FDA. And that's the AVERSA technology that we're working with Kindeva on the fentanyl patch, painkilling patch.
I love that. So there's patches and then there's smart patches, like phones and smartphones. Can you speak a little bit about the smart patches?
The smart patches, you mean like
what you do, where you take a patch and you're able to apply it for other things like painkillers or for mosquito repellent?
Correct.
How do you do that?
We have done extensive studies, and there is a radar study that is going to come up soon, on the accidents that happen with pain-killing patches. And fentanyl is the 100% more potent, 100 times more potent than heroin. So it's a lot of residual left on the patches after they're discarded. I mean, there are some studies that show them going anywhere from $100 to $200 on the black market for the addicts they want to buy. There are accidents. I mean, children have actually died by picking up accidentally from the trash. So there are hundreds of 911 calls. I mean, that all the things are going to be actually appearing in our studies, and so the technology that we have will make the child or anybody else who try to use them spit it right out. It's based just on the make it extremely unpleasant to because most of the abuse is extremely unpleasant to have it inside your mouth. I mean, that's it's a combination of bittrex and the most bitter substance in the world, and some other ingredients that one day it just burns your tongue to the point that you just can't enjoy it. And so that's a concept of the patch. And we have in the studies showed, and there were some analytical reports that we did before we even engaged in the feasibility study with Kindeva. It was at their request. We have done analytical studies with Advanced Health, and they expect actually to have insurance companies to pay premium for our product because of the space, and also they expect the sales to be anywhere from 80 to 250 million within the first years after the product comes on the market. And that is just based on the market that was at the time in 2020. I mean, the market already significantly increased. I mean, our latest numbers have shown. And also that is based on just the percentage of the market, I mean, 15 to 20%. However, also there was an asterisk in the analytical studies saying that there is a chance that FDA may mandate it for all the pain-killing patches on the market if we're successful. And in that case, I mean, from those years' revenues, I mean, would have gone to 800 million from 200 million. So that's a significant also point to make. Also a significant point to make it here that it's a platform technology. It's not just for fentanyl patch. We also have done the study for apomorphine patch, and that also comes to very significant numbers, from 70 to 150 million also. Based on the same numbers that were in the same metrics that were used for the fentanyl estimates. And we expect that once it's successfully applied for one, I mean, that's going to be the platform to apply for other pain-killing patches and patches that could present a risk to health or addiction for people.
Love that. So let's talk about risk management. How do you handle risk, and what are some mistakes you see people make with respect to risk management?
In risk management, you mean do you request just for the patches themselves, or actually running the public company?
So I know you have exactly. So I know you have a lot of background from legal work to business side to running the public company. The next part of the show for the audience is timeless advice. So just in general, anywhere you want to go, the concept of risk in the biotech space, obviously, it's very important. You have to make sure everything is by the book and FDA regulated, so on and so forth. Business standpoint, from no to NASDAQ, anywhere you want to go, for the next several questions I'm going to ask you, it's more from the timeless advice standpoint. So any answer that comes to mind with respect to risk management?
Well, the biggest risk that we have seen comes actually not from our, trial and errors, and there are some, because I mean, like, we expected to have feasibility completed within a year. Well, now we're in 4th year, and that's a plausible risk. I mean, nothing is perfect, and it's not such an easy to put such a complex technology on such a complex patch that has to do with can kill a person literally. So it's a very complex and process, and it takes time. And we have been very successful, and we're hitting the milestones as we expected, just a little bit later than expected. And here comes a risk. The risk is if you take money from the market. We took them in 2021 as an IPO when we uplisted, and we're paying severely for that. For those warrants that we issued at the time, the things that have been done based on the hedge of those warrants from the people who owned them at the time was absolutely atrocious. We have purchased most of them. We're very lucky, unlike other biotech companies. And if you see our stock price, considering that we had a forward split even, it's higher than the price of the IPO after 4 years. It's unheard of in our space these days. If I look at all the companies the same banker took public during the same space, at the same time, all of them have been absolutely disseminated. I can give you all the symbols, but they are destroyed. Those investors who invest, they lost everything, all the money. Some of them have been delisted already. And they were offering us $30 million like within 3 months after the first 5 million they gave, or 6 million, I believe, raised in 2021 in October. And I just saw what was happening. I said, we're never going to take money from you again, ever. And we didn't. So that's our risk management. I mean, we just stay away from market manipulators. We purchased most of the warrants outstanding. I don't think they even know that. So they still think there are 1 million warrants outstanding. They're not. If they look at that, I mean, they're probably half left. And they severely hedged against them. There is no way anybody's going to sell them stock. There's no way they're going to cover the positions through our raises, because we just have our own investors, I mean, who actually were very, very, supportive. And we just met with our biggest investors in Milan 2 months ago, explained to them exactly what was happening. And they're not happy with the delay, but they're completely supportive. And they know within a year, we are going to have the product on the market. And also what's going to happen within a year, those warrants, their 5-year time is over. So once the time is over, even if the stock does not jump after that, and I really doubt you will not, with all the milestones and things that are coming up. I mean, you will hit the market, you will hit the street. I mean, it's going to be there, because you've seen that stock run from $3 to $12, 140 million shares in New Year's Eve 2021. I mean, this happened, those things happen. Then all of their positions are exposed. And actually, I want to speak about the New Year's Eve. If you can check that day, at December 31st, 2021, it was extremely interesting thing that happened. We were about just 3 months public on NASDAQ. But what I mentioned at the beginning, that we would share the news with our bankers, that they wanted to see the news when they're coming. So I would mention that every time the news hit, like we had the patent during that time, US patent, right away, there is like a suppression of selling, even in pre-market, to keep the stock down. And then I mentioned once it happened, then twice it happened. Then I told my partner, Gareth, let's just be quiet about the next news that comes. Let's not tell anybody. We even fired our PR company that I recommended. We didn't tell anybody. So December 31st, we had a press release. I didn't put too much stock into that. It was just a patent received for the South Korea. And on the US patent, the stock actually went down in November when we received it. And so at 7 in the morning, we put the news. I did not even look at the stock. And then I look at the stock right before the pre-market. Stock traded millions of shares. It was already from $3 went to $5. And during the day, it went to $12, 140 million shares. That day was the most traded stock in the US, more than Google, more than Tesla, more than anybody. So it just shows you that the atrocious thing that are done here. And then, yeah, within 2 weeks, they were able to bring the stock down. So once they brought the stock down again from $12 to $5 within a week or 2 weeks, I remember. I mean, they were able to do that. I told my partner that we'll never be able to raise money in the market. I mean, that's not the way to go. They're going to destroy us. So we took a pay cut across the board, about 50%, everybody. That would save us $600,000 a year. That kept us alive for the next 2.5 years, I believe, until we raised another $2 million from our biggest investor. And then last year, we were very, very close with everything. We raised another $8.5 million from the same investors. A couple more that came on board. One of them is a billionaire, actually. And that's how we're keeping afloat. I mean, we're still seeing the severe manipulation of the stock. Like we have an analyst right now who's watching every trade on the stock. So during the shareholder meeting this year in January, we also had some news, and the stock suddenly jumped. It jumped from like under $5 it went again to $12 on 4 million shares. And then we checked all the trades, all the DTC movements, and the real movement from one clearinghouse to another was 60,000 shares. Everything else was internal. Is it possible? I think probably, but highly illogical. And we requested some explanation from DTC. We didn't get any, and I don't think we will. So at this point, I mean, the only thing we can do, we can control things that we can control. We're going to complete our milestones. We're going to do everything that we can, to avoid raising money in the market. And we're very successful for the last 4 years. If they did not get the idea yet, they were not coming back, I don't know what's going to make them get. So I don't think they will. They'll continue doing the things what they're doing. And eventually, we'll see what's going to come on top within the next 12 months.
Yeah, so what you're saying here from a risk standpoint is to make sure before you do a deal, whether it's with the banker or with anybody, your neighbor down the street, make sure you understand the entire 360 view of that deal and the consequences of the deal. Because even though early on the bankers were giving you money, the terms were bad and you could see some nefarious action going on. And the other people that took that money, all their stocks went straight down. So you managed to survive. Well done. And that's kind of a risk that most people don't look at. Somebody sees the money, they just take it and that's it. You're saying, hold on a second there. There's consequences. Make sure you understand those consequences. Is that a good way
there's
to
severe consequences. And then I saw it. I mean, one of the businesses was actually not a bad business. I mean, they're probably about our size, maybe bigger. They had $2 million in sales. We had this $500,000 in sales when we went in 2021. And they grew up to 20 million or 30 million in sales. But their stock was disseminated. They had been delisted. So they don't own, I mean, whomever was the original owner of the company, they had been fired during those 4 years. So the concept, I mean, I already understood it. It's quite simple.